So today is October 13th, also known as Herpes Awareness Day, and being that I've had herpes for literally a decade, I figured I'd come on here and talk about how the herpes community has changed in the past 10 years. When I was first diagnosed, the year was 2013, I didn't even have a smartphone, and I didn't even know that places like Reddit existed because it wasn't nearly as popular. I did not know where to even start my research for herpes other than very scientific sites that kind of made it seem like it was a really scary thing. So basically, I suffered my herpes diagnosis all by myself because I was too afraid, because of the stigma, to even talk to my friends or family about it. And I just handled it all on my own and went through all my depressive episodes all by myself. When Reddit became more popular, I started going on it, and I realized that there was actually a subreddit for people with herpes. And slowly I decided to share my story on there and become a herpes advocate on Reddit, helping people who are newer diagnosed, being at this point I had had herpes for around 7 years. Once the pandemic hit and TikTok stopped being an app for 12-year-olds, my friend convinced me to download it because they're like, oh no, I promise it's way cooler than just dancing videos. And I downloaded it, and randomly on my For You page, a girl showed up just staring into the camera, and the caption said, "Just two badass bitches with herpes staring at one another." And I was in shock. It was the first time I ever saw anybody with their face out in public talking about having herpes, and I realized that it wasn't something to be ashamed of, and it was something that you were allowed to talk about, because up until that point, I thought you weren't allowed to talk about STIs and herpes in general, because I've never seen anybody do it before, and I didn't know that there was such a platform for it. After seeing that person, I started searching up herpes advocates on TikTok, and I saw that there was a couple of them. There was a bunch of people doing silly dances with captions about herpes or educating the public about herpes, and I decided that was something that I also wanted to take part in. Since becoming an advocate, my whole mentality around herpes changed drastically. I went from being totally okay that I had it to kind of being angry that so many people were depressed, and that I was personally so depressed for so long about herpes, and I wanted to do my best to change that for any newly diagnosed person, any person who still felt shame about it. I wanted to be that open source that someone could message me and I could help them to the best of my ability. So I started making outbreak guides and disclosure guides and all these different tools to give to people so they can use the experience that I had over the past 8 years at this point in their own lives. I get so excited every time someone messages me and asks me questions that I know the answer to, and I know that I can help the person, and it brings me such joy to be the person that I wish I had back in 2013. It's why I always mention that my DMs are always open to talk, and that I'm here for you if you need me, and I put out all these resources in the link tree in my bio. Because I remember how scary it was, and I remember how isolating it felt, and how I felt like I had nowhere to turn. And I am just so happy that this is like my third Herpes Awareness Day on this app, and I'm so happy to say that I feel like I've helped a lot of people. And even though I don't post nearly as often as I used to, I will still be that tool. I still answer all my DMs, and I still create content when I can. And it brings me such joy to know that there are so many different herpes advocates out there now, that it's not all on me, that I don't have to be the sole herpes advocate, because there's like over 20 of them on this platform alone. There are also so many different resources that I did not have when I was first diagnosed. Before, it used to only be the CDC and the World Health Organization. Now there are all these different websites that outline a bunch of good things about herpes and a bunch of very comprehensive facts about herpes that are a lot more easy to understand and a lot less negative in light. Basically, it's come a very long way since 2013, and I'm just so excited to see where it goes from here and how much better it just is getting overall. So I know for people who are just newly diagnosed, it feels like it's the end of the world, and I promise you it has gotten a lot better over the past 10 years, and it's just going to keep getting better from here because more people are open to it, more people are talking about it, more people have access to the internet, more people have access to cited sources that are legitimate as well as being easy to read and understand. And because of all the great work that all the herpes advocates do, either on this platform, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, they're all over the place. If you need any resources, feel free to check out the link tree in my bio. All the resources in there are free to use. They're all in Google Docs, so all you have to do is click the link and it'll take you to the Google Docs. You don't need an account or anything like that. I have a disclosure guide, social medias about herpes, so it's like every platform, every herpes advocate that I personally know of. If you know of any other ones, feel free to message me and I will add them to the list. I have a list of different dating groups and websites besides Positive Singles on there as well. I also have outbreak guides. I also have disclosure guides. I have a whole bunch of stuff all in there. How to read your herpes testing. Pretty much any question that continually gets asked to me, I decided to write down in the herpes document, so it's easier for me to reference as well as easier for you to reference without needing to message me. Because I know for me personally, messaging someone when I was first diagnosed was not something that I was capable of doing. I was too depressed to talk to anybody. So I wanted to make these guides so that you maybe could try answering the questions yourself. If you're newly diagnosed, the best document that I personally made is Myths About Herpes. It answers a bunch of very stereotypical questions that people have about herpes that they were misled their entire lives about. And it gives cited sources at the bottom of it so you can read up further than just the basic yes or no answer. Finally, this is a list of all the TikTok herpes advocates that I know of. There's definitely more than this, but these are the ones that I know of and that I know continually create content. So feel free to screenshot that. I'll also try to tag as many of them in this video as it'll let me, but it'll probably not let me tag all of them. This list it can be found in the social medias about herpes document in the link tree in my bio, as well as Instagrams about herpes, Facebook's about herpes, YouTube channels, books, pretty much anything you could possibly think of is in that document. And as always, my DMs are always open, either here, Reddit, or Instagram. Instagram and here have the same exact username, or you can go into my bio, the little Instagram icon, click on that, it'll take you right to my Instagram. My Instagram is not herpes related whatsoever, and I do that for two reasons. The first one is I'm way too lazy to keep 2 herpes advocacy pages going, it's too much. And the other reason is also for you personally. I know some people don't like to message herpes advocacy accounts in case someone sees that you're messaging a herpes account. It's like, oh, why are you messaging a herpes account? Do you have herpes? And my Instagram is just completely normal girl bullshit. So if you message me, it's just like you're messaging a friend rather than messaging a herpes account. The Reddit is my lovely Lady Lumps 69. You could also find that in the link tree in my bio. I also run the subreddit herpes questions. The thing that I like about messaging on Reddit is that it can be as anonymous as you would like it to be, or you can just use a username and a blank photo, and then I won't know who you are, because some people are concerned about revealing their identity. The platform I like messaging on least is TikTok, because they have the most moderators when it comes to words that you can and cannot use in the messaging. You also cannot send links that are clickable. I also cannot send images. Not that I'm sending a lot of images, but like if I want to send you a screenshot of how to read a test, I can't send it to you on TikTok. But whatever you're comfortable with, message me on any of them and we can figure it out. I promise you're not alone. I promise it gets better. And I promise you can handle this, and only hot people have herpes. That's why its acronym is HSV, for the hot sex virus.